But we never gonna survive unless we get a little crazy. Oh, we're never gonna survive unless we are a little crazy. Hey, you needed to start with Little Seal, didn't you? I was thinking about that song. I was thinking about how sometimes songs kind of have secret codes in them. And I think that what's kind of fun about that to me is that sometimes we are looking for a path through something. And well, let me back up just a tiny bit. One of the things I think that happens a lot of times, hey Chloe, how are you? Thank you again for that really cool card. um I think sometimes one of the things that happens to us in life is that I almost forgot, there we go. Well, I'll say it like me instead of we. I sometimes forget that the arts are very, very useful. Hello, Alan. I forget that the arts are sometimes very, very useful as a way to interpret our lives. I forget that. Right after 9/11 happened, right before 9/11, I only consumed fiction, mostly literary fiction. And right after 9/11, I couldn't look at fiction at all. It took me so long. Hi, Scott. And the reason I couldn't was that because I kept looking at fiction as such a waste of time. I needed to learn things because what I learned on 9/11 was that no one was coming to save us. It was a big, massive, life changing lesson to me. No one is coming to save us, meaning I had to be the superhero in my own story. And so, at the very early days after 9/11, I started by thinking I needed to learn how to be a survivalist, almost like one of these preppers, and so I had my go bag and I had all my special things, and I'd, bought gunshot kit wounds, medical kits and that sort of stuff. And then as time went on and I realized that, no, this was just a really crappy event, but that the next parts of this aren't going to be the same way. I transitioned that into learning more about business and learning more about other opportunities and things like that. And so that was that particular disaster in our world. And, what's interesting about that particular disaster compared to this one was that that was very finite, and it was so much easier to put a face on it. For instance, a racist face, but you could put a face on it. This one, it's almost like, and getting back to art and music and whatnot, is that the the song lyric that comes to mind for me is, Rage Against the Machine. There'll be no shelter here. The front line is everywhere. That's this, right? So as people are starting to get excited, spring in the U.S., for instance, in the this hemisphere, we are most definitely getting stir crazy to get out. But what's utterly true is that we're going to be the enemy. We are going to jump the gun, make it really bad for a lot of people, make it not a good time. And I think that this started by me talking about the arts and songs and lyrics, and sometimes it's whatever. And before, one secret of this show, if you have never watched it on YouTube, is I do something at the very beginning while I'm waiting for people to join, and so you won't have seen it, but it'll exist in the replay. So I was singing the chorus to the song "Crazy" by Seal. We're never gonna survive unless we get a little crazy. Hey, Jason, and the the point of doing that, the point of me kind of putting that together, was I was just thinking about, there's so many song lyrics that I cling to as ways to interpret useful actions that I can take. So one of the ones I think of a lot is just one random line in the song "Can't Stop" by Red Hot Chili Peppers. Do you know "Can't Stop"? It's "Can't stop the spirit if I need to. This life is more than just a read through." And it's a lot of the lines are just kind of sounds like, rhyming for rhyme's sake, of course. But one of the lines he said in one part of the song was "Complete the motion if you stumble." And I love that line. I love that line in art because, Anthony Kiedis throws away this line: "Complete the motion if you stumble." I've never seen it in anything else. I've never read it. It's not in the Bible, but "complete the motion if you stumble" explains that when you mess up, keep going. Just keep going. If you hurt someone in the mess up, apologize and then keep going. That's from a song lyric. There are song lyrics all over the place, and art all over the place, that can give us an idea to push through and give us, something, a part of the puzzle that we need. There's a song by Tricky called Christian Sands, and it's an old song. It's like the '90s or something like that. And it's an awesome, it's trip hop type music. It's very sensual and whatever. And there's this line in there where Tricky says, you know, Alan, I sing all the time, but I usually do it in ways that people can't record it. I sing, I rap, and I do it so fast that people can't bring out their phones to make it a meme or an Instagram video, and then I, go back to whatever I was doing. I have guitars. I was actually jamming with somebody yesterday. Sorry. So the line in the Tricky song is he's singing along, and I don't remember what comes right before it. He goes, "It means we'll manage. I'll master your language, and in the meantime, we'll create our own, or I'll create my own," or something like that. And what he's saying, is we'll figure this all out. I'll master your language. We'll come to this piece of connection, but in the meantime, we'll create our own language. That's sexy, right? Like that language makes you think, right? So I'll tie that to something. I was talking about story stuff because I'm doing Story Leader, and I was talking about this, and this guy, Mike Bonifer, said, I had said some kind of a tweet like, make sure you have your own story put together and ready to go so you can bring it to the picnic, so to speak, the pickup game. Make your story ready to go. And he said, I would have thought the same thing, but I heard from this guy that the best way to make a story is to do it collaboratively with the people who are there. So don't come with your story told. Build the story with the people who are there, like a collaboration, right? Like improv, but improv where you've brought your skill with you. And so I'm totally taking that, right? Like I'm stealing that and putting it into my mindset, because that's another thing we do with great art and creativity. People joke all the time about, all the songs are the same. There's this incredible video that you can watch. I could find it for you, but I'm busy talking to you. There's this video that shows that almost all modern country songs start and sound exactly the same, and it lays them all over, and it's embarrassingly the same. And, fine, except whatever, there are formats, right? There's a band, a comedy band. I think they call themselves the Axis of Evil or something like that, or the Axis of Musical Evil, where they do the same thing. They show that these 4 chords are basically the basis of pop music. There are artificial intelligence robots that are actually making pop songs without any human intervention based on what they've gathered about it. And that's fine. Things can be the same. But what's also true, what we do with music and other creativity and art, is we use it as a way to interpret and also a way to incorporate. It's incorporate that matters, right? We get a little influence, a little inspiration, we put it all together, and it becomes part of our game, right? Like our pickup game, our story. And so, Carrie will just share the links. It really is the story that gets built is from all of these pieces. And they say that good writers copy and great writers steal. And I also make the double down joke that I'm at least 50% Irish. So I steal jokes and stories and everything as much as I can in that way that people who love things love them, And so it's really, 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 really important that we realize that we take this art and take this creativity and take these inspirations from things and put them where they need to be. There's a song by System of a Down called Science. It's on the same album that has Chop Suey and Aerials and all that great stuff. And Serge Tankian is singing "The Spirit Moves Through All Things," and he's like sort of chanting it though. He's like, "Spirit moves through all things, Spirit moves through all things, Spirit moves through all things," and I love that concept. The Spirit moves through all things, because it's a compassion thing. It could be Buddhism for all you care, because what it's saying is we're all of the same fabric. We're all the same genetic muck, and that's hard for us to remember when we're feeling down. And it's hard for us to remember when we're thinking really bad thoughts about really dumb people in the world. But again, there's a line somewhere in music. Now, don't confuse that there's lines in your favorite songs that are the best. Most of my favorite songs, most of the songs that would make me dance, even if I would be electrocuted for dancing, I have no value lyrically. right? But there's amazing stuff hidden in art of all kinds. I start with music because it's just easy for us to talk about. But art, writing, books, everything. You're not. Here's the thing. I'm going to put some highlighter on your screen. You are not wasting time while you're consuming art right now. If you pull out your dusty old guitar like I did yesterday, if you're humming songs that you haven't thought of in a long time, if you're binge watching really creative artsy things on YouTube right now, you're not wasting time. You are filling your energy core inside you to do incredible stuff. Well, hello to you. Remember that you have so many opportunities. Hi, Meredith, as well. Look at all the good people showing up. My gosh, what good people. I see all good people. So again, just to wrap it up, we're going to go away because I feel like this is a good ending point. Realize that inspiration comes from all kinds of places. Realize that there are so many things you can pick up from creative places and make good use of them. And realize that, hi, Eric Fisher, good to see you. Sorry, I'm leaving, but you'll catch it in replay. Realize that it is not a waste of your time to be getting back into some arts right now and really consuming and getting yourself on to a new level. Brandon, boy, am I. I'm using my wall shavers. And Julianne says, my favorite blogger in the whole world live on Facebook. Right. But so here's a funny thing, Julianne, sorry. Am I doing a whole lot of blogging right now? No. I'm writing my newsletter every single week. I'm doing points of contact every single weekday, which is this. I'm doing my podcast whenever I can dig myself out of my hole. And I can tell you that I'm getting more engagement, obviously, through things like these videos. But I will also tell you that the great opportunity for you is to realize that you don't have to make a show about something very specific, but it would be beneficial to learn how to connect and communicate in a format like this, because there's just so much value to be had with the visual. People are shying away from the written, and people are shying away from even audio because they're most definitely finding that they want to be engaged in all these sorts of ways. And by the way, Dave, thank you, because I love you. I love all the art you make. I pay attention to every single pic. And Julianne, you're right. I mean, I'm a blogger, it's definitely one of the things I do. I also am a telephoner because I use my telephone. It is definitely one of the mediums that I use, and you can, where you found me is kind of where it matters. Gary, I'm always happy you're around. Thanks for being here. Everybody get out. It's point of contact. Chris@chrisbrogan.com is my email. Love you much. Go away.